specialists, and upcoming surgeries. I couldn't afford premiums without federal subsidies. I'm not trying to exaggerate, but I might die if I stop going to the doctor.
We are now in day 18 of the government shutdown. That at the center of it is a debate about healthcare and ACA subsidies. The Republicans seem to have dropped their, really silly argument that it's so that Democrats can fund illegal healthcare. I mean, you're not really hearing that anymore. I don't think I have heard one Republican say anything about that this week, because I think that they've realized that's not really a winning argument, because so many people recognize that that's not what is happening. And so, at least the debate is getting a little bit more centered on what's really at stake. And what's really at stake is the expiration of subsidies for the ACA marketplace, which are set to expire at the end of this year. And if they expire, people who are on the ACA marketplace will see healthcare costs expand. I mean, in some cases, exponentially. It's just it's insane that Republicans are even considering allowing this to happen. And funny enough, I was actually talking to Dale Jackson last week. I have a weekly spot on his program every Tuesday morning at 6:30. If you want to hear me, you can tune into Dale's show, and I'll be calling in. And I was talking about this, and he was like, oh, yeah, well, something's definitely going to have, they're definitely going to do something on the ACA subsidies. And now, I have heard reporting, I've read reporting about how there are Republicans who are interested in doing something about the ACA subsidies, because the ACA subsidies particularly benefit workers in states that have not expanded Medicaid, which are primarily or exclusively Republican states, like Alabama. Right? Because if you haven't expanded Medicaid, then you have a higher proportion of people who are lower income or who don't have employer-sponsored health insurance, like in Alabama. And so you've got a whole lot of people in Alabama that benefit from these subsidies, and these subsidies are the only way that they're able to get affordable health insurance. So somewhat affordable health insurance. And so we're reading reporting that Republicans want to do something about this issue, and the most prominent conservative talk radio host in North Alabama says something will for sure happen on that issue. And so Republicans are allowing this shutdown to go on, despite the fact that it seems like everybody wants what the Democrats are asking for. And so the question is why? Why do that? It doesn't make any sense. And every time I've talked about this, I wanted to talk about the Alabama numbers. I'm also going to give the Tennessee numbers, because we're on the air in Tennessee as well. And so I want to give these numbers just to remind people what is at stake here. Okay. And this is from Alabama Arise, the Alabama numbers. 477,000 Alabamians are enrolled in marketplace coverage as of May 2025, and 98% of those enrollees receive the subsidies. 98%. That means virtually everybody that is on marketplace insurance gets these subsidies. And so virtually everybody on the marketplace insurance will see their health insurance costs increase. The average marketplace premium in Alabama will increase by 93%. That is nearly double the cost for working families on average. That means that 50% of Alabamians will see their healthcare increase if they're on the marketplace by more than double. 130,000 Alabamians could lose health insurance. This loss of health coverage would cost $1.1 billion in economic activity and 10,000 jobs in 2026. Older adults and families with lower incomes would be hardest hit. For example, a 60-year-old Alabama couple making $82,000 would see their annual premiums for a benchmark plan increase from $7,000 a year to more than $27,000 a year. Why does Dale Strong want a 60-year-old Alabama couple to have their health insurance increased to $27,000 a year? Right? Why does Tommy Tuberville think that's okay? Why does Katie Britt think that's okay? And let's look at Tennessee, because the Chattanooga Times Free Press did an interview with basically that exact profile just north of the state border. Chattanooga resident Sherry Roberts, 62, said on Wednesday that if the shutdown of the federal government continues, she worries that her very health could hang in the balance. I see 8 specialists and am looking at upcoming surgeries. I couldn't afford premiums without federal subsidies. You know, I'm not trying to exaggerate, but I might die if I stop going to the doctor. Currently, with subsidies, Roberts is able to pay only $10 a month for her insurance premium. Without subsidies, she said her premium will cost $1,140 a month.
Wow. Which
she could not possibly afford. I just had no idea, Roberts said, about the expiring tax credits. It wasn't until her daughter, Jessica Roberts, told her about the pending expiration of the subsidies that she learned her health insurance could be in jeopardy. Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate. I mean, it's just wild. Roberts requires periodic knee injections to walk and is trying to schedule a knee replacement. She also cares for her father, who is in his 90s. Knowing that this is on the line, I mean, it's just hard for me to look into the next year and see any kind of quality of life because I could not get my issues treated. About 200,000 Tennesseans could lose their health insurance if they lose their subsidies, according to KFF, an independent health policy research nonprofit. And so they've got some similar numbers about a general profile of people. For a 60-year-old couple making $82,000 in Hamilton and Bradley counties, premiums will increase 261% from $580 a month to $2,100 a month. I mean, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee is talking about how it's important to extend these subsidies. I mean, really, really bad stuff. And so you would think that, okay, you would think everybody agrees this is an issue. It seems like there's an agreement that it's going to be resolved at some point. So even if you're not going to resolve it today, like this, and you know, being in the middle of a shutdown means that hundreds of thousands of federal employees are furloughed. It means that services are degrading. It means that air traffic controllers are having to go into work without a paycheck, right? And so you would think that even if you can't come to the table and say, like, okay, fine, we're going to do this thing that everybody wants to happen, you would at least be negotiating around the clock 24/7. This would occupy basically 100% of your time. And yet, I read yesterday that George Santos received a pardon from Donald Trump. Donald Trump has apparently been spending time and effort figuring out whether or not he wants to pardon George Santos. Instead of trying to resolve this issue. And I do not understand why you would be spending time pardoning George Santos, who, let's remember, defrauded like homeless veterans, right? I mean, this is not a good guy. George Santos, notorious profligate liar and frauder. He also extended a $20 billion bailout to the country of Argentina, where you've got this anarcho-capitalist president who has totally destroyed the economy. That's why, you know, your economies that are in great shape don't need $20 billion bailouts, right? And Ryan Grimm, I think maybe we can call him a friend of the show. Maybe not. I don't know. He's been on the program at least once, maybe a couple of times. He is the co-host of Breaking Points on YouTube, a very big YouTube program. You know, like millions of subscribers, stuff like that. he talked about this bailout and what it's actually about, which is, it is just so corrupt, like so blatantly corrupt. And this is what our government is focusing on. Instead of making sure that working Americans have health care, instead of making sure that federal workers continue to get a paycheck, instead of making sure that federal services continue to be provided to the American people. Let's play clip 1.
So in order to help Javier Milei, economic philosophy, we have to bail out Javier Milei. And it doesn't square.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let me help square it.
Yeah.
It's not about bailing out Argentina.
Okay. All right.
It's about bailing out Scott Bessent's friends. Here, you guys ready to just be like, are you effing kidding me? So as you may have heard, Scott Bessent used to work for George Soros.
Yes, that's
now you might be like, well, that doesn't sound possible because I've been told he's the devil.
Yeah.
He's responsible for everything wrong that goes on in this world. How is it possible that George Soros' deputy is Treasury Secretary under Donald Trump? Sorry that's so confusing to you. It's a fact. Bessent's colleague at that time was Rob Citron at this hedge fund. Rob Citron, Bessent, and Soros all went in together on some massive trades together. Citron, we talked about it last week on this recent podcast. He talked about how he made like $1 billion for Soros and Bessent on this yen trade that they pulled off.
It's very famous. One of the most famous trades in history.
Yeah. And so this guy helped make Bessent fantastically rich on this yen trade that he did within Soros. George Soros, the George Soros. Bessent went long on Milei. He was like, oh, not Bessent, sorry. Well, Bessent too, but yeah, Citron. Citron is still a hedge fund guy. Bessent now ex-hedge fund guy, but probably not ex. He bets heavily that Argentina is going to surge because of Milei's genius. That chainsaw is going to yield profits for Citron.
Yes.
Turns out that wasn't happening, so now Citron is staring down massive losses. Luckily for Citron, the guy he helped get rich under Soros is now the Treasury Secretary.
Got it.
And so Bessent is coming in, giving a whole bunch of money to Argentina to bail out his friend. The fact that Argentina gets a bailout, they're collateral. What would you call it? Not collateral damage. They're collateral victors. The collateral damage are the American farmers, because Milei immediately uses this lifeline that the U.S. gives him to cut all their export taxes on soybeans. China comes in, buys up a ton of Argentina's soybeans instead of buying American soybeans. Americans can't sell their soybeans because Donald Trump is in a trade war with our biggest soybean buyer, China. So yeah, that's actually how it squares. Because if you're like, wow, I didn't know Trump was so passionate about the virtues of libertarianism in Argentina. It's like, no, he's not. This is about enriching his cabal of buddies.
So there you go. Making sure that that American investors make their money back in Argentina. Priority of the Trump administration, $20 billion. And, he talked about how that $20 billion has allowed the Argentinian government to eliminate the export taxes on its soybeans, which then China came back and is buying a bunch of Argentinian soybeans, which is allowing China to undercut American soybean farmers. And, it's just, China was one of the biggest purchasers of soybeans from America for a long time. And so now they're able to purchase Argentinian soybeans instead of American soybeans in no small part because of this $20 billion bailout that Trump got. So, it's a very strange set of priorities from the Trump administration, I think. 844-899-TVLR if you disagree with that. 844-899-8857. 844-899-TVLR, 844-899-8857. So, I don't know. It's difficult to, I don't know. It's difficult to understand what's going on there.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard, but the president did say that this was really meant also to help his political ally and not to help Argentina. He was very clear about that He was hoping the Milei administration would benefit from this, but not necessarily the people of Argentina. That's not what it's about. If they vote a different way and vote out Milei, he will not be generous, he says. So,
Yeah.
just putting that out there.
Yeah. You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.
Which side are you on?